everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom, Tom, how's it going?
Tony, as our listeners can see, my Buckeye Huddle swag arrived today. That was very exciting. Got a new hat, got a new shirt, which doesn't fit in the camera view because of the way I have my shot cropped, which I probably should have fixed before we started recording, but here we are. Tony, that's not the most exciting news, though, of the day. It's pretty exciting, but not the most exciting news of the day. Most exciting news of the day is it's the best Thursdays in football because we're doing this show on Thursdays now. Bold predictions. Tony, how'd the year start off for you? Was it good? Did you do well week one?
I went 1-0 if we're including the listeners, which.
Well, it's a good thing we are, isn't it?
But you cannot include the listeners. Tom, you won this week. We can just go ahead and throw it out there. You won from last week, but you only barely won. And if we could, I guess we should just go through them right now, get it out of the way. Nobody wants to hear about it anyway, so let's just go, Tom. Just feel free to read what you got wrong and then what you got right. All
right. Well, as per tradition, I picked Ohio State to go 220 yards rushing, 220 yards passing. They did not do that. There was a point in the last drive where it was like, well, if they run the ball all the way down and score a touchdown and just run the ball, they could hit 220. I texted you that very hopefully, and then they didn't do that, which was, I forgot to ask Brian Day about that. Was that a personal attack on me? Because obviously you could have done it. You just chose to not do, I assume, out of spite. Ohio State's leading wide receiver finishes with double the yardage of Notre Dame's leading wide receiver. No, but it was close. Emeka Egbuka finished with 90. Lorenzo Styles had 54, all on the first play of the game. So from the second play of the game on, that was correct. But no, that didn't get that one.
You were incorrect from the first play.
But I was right from the second play on, which is pretty much the whole game. I mean, you think about it, I was basically Florida in the 2006 national championship game. I mean, it was like after the first play, it was pretty dominant and pretty fantastic. But, not, that's okay. That's all right. It's all right. I didn't need to run up the score on you week one. I don't want to make you feel too bad because otherwise you'll quit and then we won't get to do the show anymore and I won't get to win anymore.
I will quit.
Number 3, Ohio State linebackers total at least 3 tackles for loss. Double their average from a year ago. Yes, Tommy Eichenberg did that by himself, which is fortunate because no one else had one. So hit that one with exactly 3. Picked Ohio State to win by 24 points. Nope, they did not do that, but they won. So that's the important thing. And Ohio State scores touchdowns on 100% of their red zone trips. Yes, they did do that. This felt extremely bold because I thought they'd have 5 or 6 red zone trips. They had 2. And as Tony is just dying to tell you, they did not score on a trip that ended at the 21-yard line because of the missed field goal. But, horseshoes, hand grenades, and all that. I did not hit the 2-pointer, which was 2 Buckeyes exceed their season rushing yardage totals, and 4 Buckeyes exceed their season receiving yardage totals from 2021 in a single game. And also did not hit my one where they would have 3 interceptions, including 2 of them by players who did not have an interception last season. Just barely missed that one. I picked them to have 3. They had 0. But, both numbers, so I was almost there. Tony, how about you?
Well, Tom, here we go. My first one was that Marvin Harrison or Julian Fleming would go over at 100 yards receiving. Neither of them did that. I had a second prediction that Travion Henderson would have at least 2 20-yard runs, but you thought that was not bold enough and made me bump it up to a 22 and a 24, neither of which hit. I had a defensive back will have 2 tackles for loss. They did not. I also had Tommy Eichenberg will double his average tackle total from last year, which would have been 10, but you said, no, that's not bold enough. You made me move it to 12, and he finished with 9 on the day. National Defensive Player of the Week, still only 9 tackles. I don't know how that happens. But then my last one here, my last 1-pointer, Ohio State's defense holds Notre Dame's offense to 28.5% on third down. They held them to, I believe, like 23.5% on third down. So I got that one. My 2-pointer was CJ Stroud will throw for more yards than Notre Dame puts up in total offense, plus 30 more yards than Notre Dame's total offense. Turns out Notre Dame's offense beat him by 30 yards. A cruel twist of irony that I did not appreciate. A lot of this I did not appreciate. Zach Harrison outproduces Isaiah Foskey in impact plays. They tied 0-0. All I needed was a tackle for loss, a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, an interception, anything, a touchdown catch, nothing. My 5-pointer, which is not hit yet, somebody other than a quarterback will complete a pass. Your 5-pointer, Tyleek Williams scores a touchdown, has not hit yet. We've got time. So there you go. You won 2-1. Any thoughts?
Well, should we read the listeners? Go ahead and run down the
okay.
listeners' picks, because we if you were not listening last week or didn't remember or did not, have subsequently forgotten, the listeners or the readers on our board, on the huddle board at BuckeyeHuddle.com, have been invited to join us this year. They're submitting their own picks. We are going through and picking ones that are sufficiently bold to constitute bold predictions, but which are not completely outlandish. And so the readers are competing against us this year. And, in exactly how my bold prediction career started, it was like, this is easy. How do these morons not do this? And it feels like you can hit 3 or 4 of these every week. And then, Tony, how many did they get right?
Tom, it's a big fat 0 that they got correct. And I'm twisted here between screens. But I think what I've got here is the 1-pointers, a true freshman. This is from 5th generation. A true freshman will have an impact play on defense. Did not happen. No true freshman even played on defense. This one from BCK EYE, Buckeye. Super Softs will combine for at least 4 sacks. That did not happen. They only combined for, I believe, 1, and that was Michael Hall. And technically, he's a redshirt freshman, so I don't even know if we would have allowed that one if he had gotten it right, as is custom on the show. From a fan of OSC, the Ohio State will produce 150 yards rushing and 150 yards passing against Notre Dame in the first half. That did not happen. And then, an unfortunate one here from Ohio University. Julian Fleming scores a touchdown of 30-plus yards. That did not happen. 2-pointers. AZ Nate, OSU will score a defensive or special teams touchdown. That did not happen. 3-pointer from Shaw 329. The first OSU touchdown of the season isn't scored by the offense. That did not happen. And the 5-pointer and the 10-pointer are still going to be taking well. There is one that I wanted to point out, Tom, from SH Wilson 24, whose bold prediction was at exactly 8:15 p.m., Notre Dame will be in possession of the ball on their own 33-yard line. Normally, this is something that we would jump on and be like, that's great. I didn't include it, but I just wanted to mention it. And as I looked at my DVR, which started at 7:30, so I fast forward 45 minutes to see exactly where it was, because I set an alarm on my phone, actually. I just shut it off when it went off because I didn't know what it was about. But as I got to at 8:15, 45 minutes into the DVR, Notre Dame was at their 31-yard line instead of the 33-yard line as predicted. So nice try. Still wrong. Also, you probably should have said 34-yard line.
Yes, 34-yard line is canon here. Frankly, Tony, if it was me, I would have said 31-yard line, but I guess I'm just built different. This is a wonderful welcome to the bold prediction business for all of the listeners and readers, because all of those are like, that sounds reasonable. I could see that happening. Over. And the one that's a complete shot in the dark that would have been honestly, that's probably like a 10-pointer, and you missed it by 2 yards. Like, welcome to bold predictions. You'll hate it here. It's great.
It's an escape room with no escape. So let's get started, Tom. Do you want to go first since you won, or would you like to give me the honors because I lost?
I will say I will give you the honors, but I will hate you if you steal my first one.
My first one, Tom.
Anyway, so Tony, 230 yards rushing and 230 yards passing for Ohio State. I'm not doing the 220 thing. I'm going 230 because the only time they hit last year was against Akron, or they hit twice, but one of them was against Akron, which feels like kind of the closest comparable game, I guess, to this one. So yes, I'm going 230. Would you like to auction that number higher, or are you going to let me have it at 230?
I'll go 231.
All right, I will go 235.
I'll go 236.
Well, last year they had 237 yards rushing against Akron, so I'm going to go 237, 237.
You can have it. Sir, name that bold prediction.
There we go. So there's number one. Tony, part of the reason is I only prepared 5 one-pointers and I didn't want to have to wing one, so there we go.
That's all I prepared. So, but anyway, these are all wings, basically. It's just a whole bunch of bold predictions led by Paul McCartney. So I will have to cancel that one out and try to figure something else out. I'm sure I'll come up with, it's the wings that really land it for you. My first one, and I'm not even going to argue with you on that one time because we bartered for it. So now I can't be like, that's not even bold.
You can, but it would be, sort of indirectly admitting that you, in fact, are never bold on this show, which I'm sure you don't. It's something you don't want to admit, at least.
I mean, I don't want to, it's too early in the season. It's not even October yet. My first one, Tom, actually my second one, since I had to get rid of my first one. The Buckeyes will double up the total yards of offense of Arkansas State. It's something that they did to 3 opponents last year. I am predicting them to do it again this year.
That feels bold, except they did it 3 times last year, and, if they're not going to do it in this game, when would they do it this year, feels like? So I'm going to need a plus something.
+1.
Double plus... you want to just use the number from last week and double plus 30? We can go double plus 30. Because this is one you are better than 50-50 to hit, even with double plus 30, I think. Because, the defense is going to be...
Double plus 26.
All right, congratulations. There's one. That's your freebie this week.
No.
They're going to be... Ohio State is going to be pushing the ball on offense more than they would be otherwise because they want to get all the young guys reps. And the defense is going to give up not very much. It's going to be like an accident if Arkansas State's moving the ball. And, are they going to sustain a drive? No. So even late in the game, if you don't get this one, it's going to be a real backdoor thing where Arkansas State has a 63-yard drive at the end of the game and just barely sneaks in under the wire on it. That's the only way this doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit because they're going to be playing a bunch of young guys. Ohio State will. They're going to be running it with Dallin Hayden and a walk-on in the fourth quarter. They're going to be playing a bunch of young players who haven't played at all and didn't play this past season. That's where the points and the yards are going to give up. So you say it's going to be backdoor. I'm saying I'm factoring that in, and it's well, you're saying it doesn't count except it's going to be the thing that cost me this one. So, but fine, plus 26. And the reason you think you're giving me this, it's not, Tom. I went double, and you go plus 30. I'm like, you know what? I'll meet you in the middle at plus 26. In the middle would have been plus 15, Tom. I know math.
Anyway, so congratulations on getting this one, which is the free, easy one for this week. My second one. Last week, I said 2 Buckeyes exceed their season rushing yardage totals in the game, and 4 Buckeyes exceed their season receiving yardage totals, for their 2021 season yardage totals in the game. Did not get it. Obviously, this is a different opponent. You're going to be playing more guys this week. So instead of 2 and 4, I'm going to go with 4 and 6. 4 Buckeyes exceed their 2021 season rushing totals. 6 exceed their 2021 receiving totals.
That's fine. Now, did they have to be Buckeyes in 2021?
No. They could be Buckeye commits. You're gonna have some freshmen in there. I'm not predicting Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams to exceed their totals from 2021.
So you're saying Dallin Hayden has to exceed his totals from 2021.
Yes.
His 1,100 yards rushing in high school.
We can say career totals. How about that? Career totals. College career totals.
Oh, you better throw college in there. That's all I'm saying.
Dallin Hayden's 500-yard game from third grade is gonna
So 4 rushers, 6 receivers.
4 rushers, 6 receivers.
Total top their totals from last year.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll see. This may become your new white whale, but it can only be your whale for so long.
It's only going to work for so long because eventually guys are going to start having numbers that are bigger than 0 or 10. So this is more or less a bet that there are going to be, 15 guys with touches on the stat sheet, and a bunch of them are going to exceed their. It's also I don't think Jackson Smith-Njigba is probably going to play, so that will help get this potentially get this over the finish line if there's more touches to go around in the early part of the game.
All right, here's my next one, and this is something that C.J. Stroud only did once last year. He will complete at least 82% of his passes in this game. The one time he did it last year was Michigan State, where he was like 90-something% in the first half and didn't need to do anything in the second half. So I'm saying at least 82% of his passes will be completed. And really, remember, he was really bad last week. 71% looked like a bum. So I'm saying he bounces back this week and does much, much better.
Yeah, this is a good bold one. It's a reachable bold one, but I think if he only did it once last year, I think that's a very good pick. I mean, if had he played against Akron, does he do it against Akron? Yeah, maybe, so that it's 2. But this is one that if he did it once last year, I really can't complain about this one. So there you go. All right, next one for me. At least 8 Buckeyes are in the stat sheet column for tackles for loss. So at least half of a tackle for loss. 8 different Buckeyes during this week. They had 3 week 1 against Notre Dame. 8. Why did I pick 8? That is how many they had against Akron last year in that column.
Okay, no, I like that, and that'll be fun to track. And we know our hit rate on tackles for loss and sacks in this contest are terrible, but yours so far this season has I believe been perfect.
Yeah, it's like walking into a casino, pulling the slot machine, and winning $20 the first time. It's like, oh yeah, I'm done. Now I've got it. Now I've got this figured out. So I'm definitely not going to just be feeding the tackles for loss into the slot machine, tackles for loss picks into the slot machine for the rest of the season and going, am I pulling the lever differently? I don't know. Something's wrong.
Hey, you're talking to the guy who had a 6-leg parlay the first time I ever did a sports wager. So, and nothing since.
Yes, but you're still, I still have the picture from that, which is one of my favorite pictures. It was in Iowa. And so when you pull up the map of, the map, it's the most recent picture I've taken in the state of Iowa. So when you pull up the locations of photos taken, that still shows up on the map. If I zoom it out to the whole United States, and I have you, holding your winnings in the casino, and I laugh every time. It is one of, that was a fun road trip.
My next one, at least 2 impact plays from freshmen defensively, including touchdowns on offense for true freshmen. So, tackles for loss, sack, forced fumble, interception, touchdown, at least 2.0. None of the freshmen played last week. I'm saying they're going to make some plays this week. Tom.
2 seems low because I think you're going to see a lot of the freshmen this week. I mean, I feel like you're going to get one from Caden Curry. He'll have a tackle for loss at some point. And one of the freshman receivers is going to score a touchdown, or Dallin Hayden's going to score a touchdown. I feel like if you want to include the offense, I'm going to need 3 here.
3? That's okay, because I was going to say 5. So yes, I'll go 3. No, I'm just kidding. we can do 3 because there are no half touchdowns. So I'm hoping for at least one of those, as we'll discuss later on down the road.
All right, next one, and I don't know that I even really believe this one, but the most carries in a game last year was 43 against Michigan State, so I'm going to say they have at least 43 carries this week. I don't know that I necessarily buy it because I think they're going to want the quarterbacks to be throwing in the second half, but, so maybe this should be a 2-pointer instead of a 1-pointer, but we'll have it be the 1-pointer, it's fine. This is one I don't think is going to hit, but it's possible if the game plays out a certain way.
Well, and Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson had 20 carries by themselves in the second half against Notre Dame, so there is a possibility to approach that 40, and I'm not sure whether they want to establish the run. I don't think they want to establish the run early. I think they want to get C.J. Stroud some throws in there and get him some work in because they won't want to be playing him much. So I'll allow this one, knowing that of course they should have 43 carries. Why would they? They're going to be running the ball 17 times in the fourth quarter alone, but yet it doesn't happen.
Yeah, unless they want Devin Brown to throw the ball 5-10 times, or they want, Kyle McCord to get a bunch of work in the third quarter. I think that's what might keep this from hitting is, they're bringing in the younger quarterbacks and throwing the ball a little bit more with the younger quarterbacks just to get them reps and get them game experience. Because I don't know how many games Devin Brown's going to play in this year. I'm going to guess the answer is 4 or less, but this feels like one where they're going to want to get him some throws, which means they're not running the ball as much as you'd think in the second half. That's I think the biggest reason I don't think this is necessarily going to hit.
My final one-pointer before I have to come up with my final one-pointer. Dallin Hayden will have a rush of at least 20 yards in the game. I think we're obviously going to see him. Now, 20 yards would be a season long.
Career long, even.
But I'm talking for the Buckeyes. It would be a season long. So we haven't seen them come even close to that. And I'm saying he's going to go, and you know what? There's a pretty good chance he's going to go beyond 20 yards. So I'm going to say has at least a rush of 20 yards, even though we know, remember when DeMario would come in as a freshman and you just run him between the tackles? I think this is just a lot of between the tackle stuff where he's going to be running against a 7-8 man box, and which makes it tougher. But if he can squirt out, then there's a pretty good chance he'll get one.
All right, so a rush of at least 26 yards. Okay, good. We're agreed there.
25.5.
Done. Sold. I'm going to be on the sidelines insisting they bring out the sticks to measure, and it's like, what do you mean? It's what? He got the first down easily. It's like, no. I didn't know if this is 25.4 or 25.7. This is very important. It's for science.
Are we rounding up, to the 25.5, or does it have to exceed the 25.5?
I think it has to exceed the 25.5, certainly.
All right,
my last one-pointer. There was only one game last year where Ohio State had more than 5 sacks. I say they get at least 6 sacks this week.
Yeah, but they're playing a new style of defense, so I would need. That feels like. I mean, if you've got 8 guys getting tackles for loss, and 5 sacks, I mean, that's not. That may be more than last year, but where did Ohio State finish nationally in sacks compared to where Oklahoma State finished nationally in sacks last year, as Oklahoma State led the nation in sacks? How many times did they get 5 sacks last year in a game? 7 times, Tom. So you're saying you're going to boldly predict Ohio State to do something that, on average, Oklahoma State did every week last year?
You just said 5 sacks. I said they're going to get at least 6, so that's more. So, therefore...
I won't go 7.5. That's a bridge too far. I will say at least 7 sacks because. Oh no, you said 6 sacks. Is that what you said?
I said 6. I said 6. I didn't say 5. I said 6.
All right. I've been arguing with myself over this one, Tom.
I was gonna say this felt pretty okay, but sometimes I'm trying to sneak one past you. This one did not feel like one where I was thinking I was trying to sneak one past you.
I'm always suspicious, Tom. Yeah, that's fine. 6 sacks, whatever. And I probably talked myself out of it and should have gone to 6.5, but it is what it is. As long as everybody's happy, except for me, then we're happy.
That's the important thing, that you're not happy.
So now I've got to come up with one on the fly. And let's go with Kyle McCord throws for at least 68 yards in this game.
That feels very low to me. The number in my head was like 100.
Really?
Yeah. And if you don't want that one, you can have the 6 sacks, and I'll take the 100 yards for Kyle McCord.
No, I don't want 6 sacks.
Why? Because that's outrageously high? After you were telling me it was outrageously low?
No, I'm just telling you my history with boldly predicting sacks never works out. He's not going to throw for 100 yards.
Well, then you can take 6 sacks.
No, I can just come up with something else.
Yeah, but it's going to be terrible, so.
Julian Fleming. No, let's go with Tommy Eichenberg has averaged 3 tackles for loss this season. I'm going to say he does not exceed his average. No,
Ohio State has exclusively played teams with shiny gold helmets this year. I predict that Arkansas State does not wear shiny gold helmets on Saturday. 3 points. Hasn't happened once this year.
How about this? Let me just go to my 2-pointer. No, I'll come up with something here. Steel Chambers has at least a tackle and a half for loss.
Done. That's a good one. That's a very good one. All right, so now that's the 1-pointer. So now we're moving on to our 2 and 3-pointers. And I got to tell you, I had my 2-pointer all set, and then I started researching the history, and I was like, oh boy, this needs to get less bold, and also is the 3-pointer. So we'll get to that one in a minute. 2-pointer, Ohio State blocks a punt.
How many punts did Arkansas State have blocked this past week against Grambling? 4.
I don't think that's true.
That's fine. 2-pointer, block a punt.
I will admit I have not done a tremendous amount of research on Arkansas State because gestures vaguely towards Arkansas State, but I do not believe they had 4 punts blocked last week.
Okay, well, beg to differ. Yeah, I mean, they block what, maybe 2 a year? So, I mean, is that bold? No. Is it 2-point bold against the worst team you're facing? Like, if there's a game in which you should block a punt, it's going to be this one. But still, to call for it, I mean, it's more than 1 point. So, you know, I'm fine with that. I'm just complaining because, you know, it's what the show is about. Tom, my 2-pointer, something that has never happened in college football. G. Scott scores a touchdown. Hopefully he's playing some. He should. I mean, there's a good chance that he's going to be playing at times. And if you want these quarterbacks throwing the ball, I'm going to say G. Scott scores a touchdown. It's probably more of a 3-pointer, but you know, it's going to happen at some point. So, you know, let's just try to make it happen now.
I'm annoyed because I know why you're picking this. And I'm annoyed that I didn't pick this, but I can't say no because it's not a 3-pointer because I know why you're picking this. But I will say that I will grudgingly allow this as your 2-pointer. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, my 3-pointer. Now, I'm going to need you to hold your complaints until after I provide some historical context to this.
So this is not bold at all. It's just rare.
No, you will ignorantly assume it is not bold when in fact it is exceptionally bold. There will be scoring plays from Ohio State from within a yard where the ball is snapped, from within a yard of the 17 and 34-yard line on Saturday. So that could be a field goal where the ball is snapped from the 16 or a 32-yard touchdown run or whatever. Scoring plays where the ball is snapped from within a yard of the 17 and 34-yard line. And let me tell you, I wish I had done this research before I picked them to do this like twice, and then also from the other 17 and 34 for one of my ones for the season. Tony, do you know the last time they scored from either the 17 or the 34-yard line was?
The Rose Bowl.
No. Akron game last year. That was a 34-yarder. Do you know the last time they scored on a play from the 17-yard line?
Florida Atlantic.
No. 17 was the second quarter of the Minnesota game last year. Season opener, a Noah Ruggles field goal on the ball snap from the 17. The last touchdown from the 17 was Jeremy Ruckert against Clemson in 2020 in the Sugar Bowl. Before that, it was Blake Hallbeal with a field goal against Nebraska in the season opener for 2020. This happens like once a year they score a 17-yard touchdown. They scored in 2019. They scored touchdowns against Rutgers, not from the 34, but from the 32 and the 35, so like close, but not exactly. The last 34-yarder before the Akron game last year, the only other time they scored a 34-yarder since the start of the 2018 season, I think, was the Dwayne Haskins, Terry McLaurin touchdown against Purdue at the very end of that game in 2018. The last time they were within 1 yard of the 17 and 34-yard line, scoring touchdowns from each of those, happened in the last time Brian Snead played in Ohio Stadium. The Oregon State game in 2018, that was a 16-yard run and a 33-yard run. That is the only time it has happened since the beginning of 2014. So, frankly, this should have been my 10-pointer, not like it's going to happen twice. And then also other stuff from the far end of the field. Like that feels like that should be like a 27-pointer now for the season. But yeah, so scoring plays from within a yard of the 17-yard line and the 34-yard line for Ohio State on Saturday.
How many scoring plays?
At least one scoring play from within a yard of the 17-yard line and at least one from within a yard of the 34-yard line.
One of each, you're saying?
One of each, yes. So it could be a 16.
Really? Wow.
A 16-yarder and a 35-yarder.
Okay. All right. Now, what happens if it's on the 17 or 34 exactly?
Well, that would be within a yard of the 17 or the 34.
I will not allow you to count the 17. No, I'm messing. All right. Within the 17 and 30.
I thought briefly about trying to word this in a way where a 34-yard field goal would also count, which would mean that would actually hit both of those because it would be a snap from the 17 and it was also 34. They did hit a 34-yard field goal at one point, but it was marked in the box score as being snapped from the 18, I think. So
I'll give you a 51-yard field goal. If you want to throw that in there, go right ahead.
Okay, I get a 51-yard field goal cashes for me for everything.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would cash for. That would cash for the 34.
That would just cash for the 30. Thank you for graciously giving me something that I have already asked for and you had already agreed to. Yes, thank you.
No, we're talking about kicks from the 34, not snaps from the 34. You are talking about both, and I am saying...
I am merely saying snaps from the 17 and 34 or within a yard of each. Yes.
All right, so yes, we did actually agree on that one. Good call, Tom. It's been a long day. My three-pointer, something that has not happened since 2019, something that has only happened, I think, twice in the last 5 or 6 years. Ohio State pitches a shutout on Saturday. They don't do it often, and it's usually, can't say usually because of the young guys that they put in the fourth quarter. A lot of times it's the old guys that they put in the first quarter that has been the issue over the past few years. But it's exceedingly difficult to shut teams out when you've got so many young guys that you want to play against an offense. Butch Jones has always known offenses. He's always had decent offenses. These receivers and running backs that Arkansas State has are better than some in the Big Ten. So, but I obviously think there's this competitive excellence, competitive stamina that Ryan Day has talked about, which could maybe be enough to push the defense to a shutout.
Yeah, this is one that, even with the historical context, this doesn't really feel that bold. This doesn't feel like a three-pointer. Bold, yes. Three-pointer, I've let you go on a couple already, and it feels like this would be extremely generous of me to give you 3 points for this one. What was your two-pointer again?
G. Scott scores a touchdown. Do you want to make... Here, I'll do this. G. Scott scores a touchdown as a three-pointer. The Buckeyes pitch a shutout as a two-pointer.
See, now we're in the situation where no matter which one I pick, the three-pointer will hit. So...
If you want to make them both three, that's fine.
I will say, how about both of them are worth 2.5 points? How about that? Wait, no, that seems like a bad deal for me. All right, we will keep it as is. A shutout is 3 points. That's fine.
-7 points.
Technically, a shutout is 0 points. So, yes, I will give you 0 points for this bold prediction.
I think we're done. I think we've done it. And now I will go ahead and when we're done here, we'll go ahead and throw these up on the huddle message board and invite others to put their bold predictions in there, and then we will go through and pick out the 5 suitable 1-pointers, the suitable 2-pointer, the suitable 3-pointer, and still, if you want to throw your 5s and your 10s out there, we will continue to take those basically all season long because why not? I think this is the week. Maybe let's see. Is this the week my 5-pointer hits? Maybe. Well, this might be. Somebody other than a quarterback completes a pass. Tom. I don't know that you want to do it against Arkansas State, but it gets everybody else to pay attention to it.
It gets it on film. So I guess the question is, this is the week you do it. If you think that it's not actually going to work and you just want other people to have to worry about it. If you think it is going to work, then you don't show it this week and you save it for a game where it might make a difference.
open the Wisconsin game with that. Tom, anything else before we go?
No, just looking forward to defending my championship next week, and most importantly to me, of course, defeating the listeners, defeating our wonderful Buckeye Huddle members. Welcome to Bold Predictions. It's awful. You'll hate it here. And, it's so fun to have people actually try this once, and it's like, oh no, this is terrible. This is impossible. How does anyone ever get one right? You go from how does anyone ever get one of these wrong to how does anyone ever get one of these right very quickly in this process.
Yeah, it's throwing darts against at the balloons at the fair, but the balloons are so far apart, and some of them are like made of ceramic and not actual balloons, and you throw it and your dart just bounces off of it. It's completely annoying, but it is an obligation at this point, frankly, and so we do it. And Tom enjoys it. I enjoy it equally, just as much. But it's all in fun. Anyway, that will do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate the bold predictions and then the inclusions from everybody else. And thank you for your feedback. If you want to provide more feedback, a 5-star review, if you're listening to this on your podcast platform of choice, always helps us. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you have already done it, thank you very much. If you didn't know, we are now at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Check us out there. Right now, Thursday, doing an all-day staff chat. We are currently missing it, Tom, but we will get right back to it, I promise. So that will do it for us. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys later.